Okay, before I zoomed in on the Amplified Bible version of Matthew 5:8, I was already describing it the same way, basically. Basically. Of course, my Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order argument came around eventually. Okay. It said, "Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God." How? How will they see God? Well, it says right there in the parentheses that blessed is referring to anticipating God's presence. They're blessed because they're blessed with being able to anticipate God's presence. Okay? And being spiritually mature. You say, what is pure in heart? Right? They have integrity. They have moral courage. That they have no ulterior motives. They have the courage to be selfless. And being selfless, they say to God, "Here I am, God, and I'm selfless, and I'm trying to do your will. I chastise people who cling to their flesh." And some people might confuse that with being racist or something, but that's not what that is. It's like chastising the Philistines and the Jebusites and the Amorites and Ephraim if he's doing the wrong thing and whoever else. There's nothing wrong with that. You see, my motives are pure. And to make sure they're precise, I say, does anyone have a viable counter argument? Then please present it. And if you don't present it, forever hold your peace and your complaints. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see, they will sense, right? The essential alpha essence. To sense the presence of God. Essential, right? The alpha essence, the approval. You see, some people who work in the church their whole lives, they might feel like they do sense God or something, but they don't. Because they're cheating the righteous out of the true divine order. So it says, blessed are the pure in heart, those who have purified themselves, who put away, cast down the ulterior motives. They've been purged of ulterior motives. For they will sense God. So when they say, well, see God, do I see God like I see, a fence post or something? No. Do I sense that I'm moving in the right direction? Now, for those of you who don't acknowledge sense, when you have a romantic atmosphere, do you sense it? When you see people talk about the school spirit and they're cheering at a football game, do you sense it? When you feel the sun hitting you on the beach, do you sense the heat energy? And do you feel like there's something else going on there at the beach when it's a nice day? Is there something else other than it's a beautiful looking day? Is it not a beautiful feeling day? You not sense that beauty. What does it mean to sense God? And they try to confuse this with technology. They would probably argue that they put it in people's head. The government believes it's their duty that if somebody tells the truth about God, that they got to convince people they're crazy, even if they got to use technology to pretend that they put it in their head that they see God when they don't. They talk about subliminal messages and all and this, that, and the other thing. The unconscious mind, the subconscious mind, unconscious behaviors, and then manipulating the unconscious mind. Okay? Could you tell me that you manipulated my mind, therefore 1 + 1 in arithmetic doesn't equal 2? Could you tell me that you manipulated my mind, therefore, to the best of anyone's knowledge, that the air doesn't exist? And you could not tell me that when I'm walking in the way of righteousness along the paths of justice, that I do not feel wisdom and I don't feel God. You can't possibly say that. And it's also proven by sparring. Because how am I outmaneuvering people based on my sense of the situation? In my ability to see into their very soul and see, how to beat them, see who they are, see the essence of who they are and how to beat them. In outdoor sparring, no gimmicks, nothing to favor me, just nature running its course, nature that was put there by the supernatural, by the essence of the source of life, which is God. So you see it in the mind's eye. You sense it in God's presence. I sense when somebody has done the right thing, right? When somebody treats you fairly, when somebody does you justice, when somebody does what is right, your brain kind of clicks over and says, that's right. It becomes that kind of association and connection. When my ancestors for generations, when they started doing what was right, and they felt God telling them in a certain way that it's right, it allowed them to transcend other people. You see, in martial arts, there's no room for false beliefs. If you believe something false, it will be proven wrong. You say, how do I do this stretch? How do I do this strike? If you're not doing it in a way that does the job, then you will die and you'll be screened out. So we see a sort of natural and supernatural selection had taken place. And over the course of that, the Lord forged me through nature, through supernatural selection, based on my relationship with the source of justice and righteousness. You see, it is real. It is real. It is real. I know that God is real. I know what's going on is very important. You've got to understand these things. So I can say it to you again. Blessed are the pure in heart. Blessed are those who are morally courageous, those who insist on universal pinpointed moral precision, focus moral intensity, moral maturity, moral moral intelligence, moral wisdom. Blessed are the righteous and just, those who accept God's commands, God's actual chain of commands that the corporate state tries to confuse you about. For they will see God with their mind's eye. They will sense Him when they have accepted the spirit of the essential alpha essence to sense the presence of God. The essential alpha spirit, dominating characteristic, prevailing tendency, dominant principle. What some people might call an energy, but it's not. Because it's like the essence of an energy, one could argue, is a spirit. But energy doesn't go far enough. If science can kind of quantify it and explain it, then it's safe to say they're not correctly describing the Spirit. The Spirit of God is something that cannot be measured. It's something that He has removed from scientific measurement because He wants to be removed from the situation. Right? In Igbo culture, they call Chukwu, he's withdrawn. They say he's the withdrawn one, the Almighty, the Creator God. He's withdrawn because He doesn't want to interfere with the construct of free will and choosing to draw the Spirit of God in. God only comes if His chosen king draws Him in. And then He conveys it to those in the divine order. It's like a waterfall. Sunlight doesn't come from God, for example, by itself. God created the sun, then sunlight comes. And so it is the light of justice, the light of vindication, the light of moral precision, the light of focus, moral intensity, the light of reality. Morality, more reality. The light of God only comes through me. I am the way, the truth, and the life, and the light of the world, drawing God Almighty. Because it is wrong to cheat me out of my right to lead. So therefore, you can't be pure in heart, because that's, if you're cheating me out of my right to lead, because that's part of what it takes to be pure in heart. You need to be correct in principle. You see, if you're not correct in principle, then you couldn't be pure in heart to sense God Almighty. So it says, blessed are the pure in heart, those who obey the King of Kings. Because only then will they see God. Not when if you say to yourself that you're a sinner and God knows, then you're an unrepentant sinner. You have to say to yourself that you've been redeemed by actually being redeemed. You have to actually atone for sin. At one mind. Atonement. At one meant meaning mind. So blessed are those who are in the divine order, who have atoned for their sin, because only then can they see God.